Hi, welcome to my studio. I'm Tricia, and today we're going to take some paintings like this, very simple, quick, responsive paintings, and we are going to rip them up. Yes, you heard me right. We're going to rip them up and we're going to turn them into beautiful collages that look something like this. So first off, I want to show you the supplies you're going to need, and then we're going to go from there. All right, here's the supplies you're gonna need. You're gonna need some paper. I like this mixed media paper. It's a heavier weight paper, so it will not buckle with a lot of water. So just keep that in mind. You can use any kind of paper, but just not too thin so that it buckles when it gets wet. Size-wise, I wouldn't go any bigger than an 8 by 10 for at least for this first time project. Then we've got some acrylic craft paints. You're going to choose your colors according to the images that you chose. I'm going to have you choose 3 to 4 images that you have, on your phone from your last vacation or your hike around town. Probably landscape is your best bet right now. And then you'll see with my painting supplies, I have a pie plate that I use as my palette. You can use any kind of a paper plate. The coated ones are best because they don't really soak up as much. But if you have a spare pie plate that you can donate to your craft section, that would be great. I also have paintbrushes. I have a large one to cover the large spaces quickly and some smaller ones to get some details. I also have a little bucket of water and my much needed and used paper towel. And then some Mod Podge is the ideal adhesive, I think, for this project. If you do not have Mod Podge, we could always use Elmer's glue watered down a bit. And then last but not least, some marking utensils, pencils, colored pencils, crayons, oil pastels, anything like that. Even a pen with pen and ink is fine. It's not necessary, but it adds a nice little finishing touch. So that is an overview of the supplies that you will need. All right, I'm going to start with the lilac field here. And I've chosen my paint colors according to the ones that I see in the photo. But you know what? It's fun to be creative, innovative. If you want to go with different colors and, change them around, hey, more power to you. Go for it. It's a lot of fun to do that. But I am sticking with the colors that I see. I'm going to still be creative with those. I see a variety of greens. I, of course, see that lilac. I see a light blue sky and some white clouds. I always have white, lighten the colors. And I also add some, different colors. A little bit of a dark blue might help to darken my colors up and change them around a little bit. Red is a good color to add, especially to green, which is its complement. That can change the color. It can tone it down a bit and darken it up for me. So that's a little bit of a mixing color technique that I'll show you. But first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my big brush. I'm going to get it wet. I don't want it too wet, but I'm going to get it wet. And I am going to start back there with that sky. And I am just going to loosely cover in some light blue. And you know what? Maybe even a little bit of dark blue. Mix it in. I like a variety of colors so that it's not so flat and it's more interesting. Add a little bit of light and mixing right on your painting. Nothing wrong with that. All right. I'm going to stop there. Now I see those green trees and I notice that kind of a wavy, hilly line. I want to kind of get that in there. So I'm going to start with this dark green. But you know what? I want to go darker than that. So I'm going to add a little bit of red. It's kind of a pinky red. And you'll notice it makes it very much olive green. But see how it's toned it down and made it dark and made it not so bright? So that's, I'm getting darker, but it's too olive. Let's see what happens if I add a little blue. See, it's fun to just explore. Let's see what happens. Mix your colors a little bit and see what happens. So I kind of like that green. Let's see how it looks like when it goes down. And look at how loose. Oh, it's a wave. I don't care if it's the exact same wave or direction that the picture shows. It's just, I'm just kind of responding to it. I'm going to do more blue in there. Maybe a little bit of this green. What would happen if we added that in? Ooh, it's a blue-green. Look at that. Let's put some of that. Mix it together. Get a variety of greens on there. Just very loose, but I got that hill. Kind of looks like hills. Look at my brush strokes. Have fun with the brush strokes. I love seeing all those brush strokes. Now I see a lighter green, and you know what? I see yellows in there too. I didn't get some yellow on my palette, so I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there. And I'm going to have fun with these greens and some yellow. And I'm not worried about the colors mixing on my palette there. Getting the green in there, it'll all come together nicely. And so now I'm getting that yellow green. Look at that. That's so pretty. All right, and it comes over here. There's this kind of an angle that I see. Look at, just very loose, filling in those large spaces. And now I see, I'm gonna put some more of that dark green in there, maybe a little bit of that green. I'm just mixing it all up to see what happens. What do I get? Ooh, that's a prettier green. Look at that, see? Explore and see what you get. That's a little bit brighter green that I think I see in the foreground with the lilacs there, or the lavender, not the lilacs. Sorry, I love lilacs too. But the lavender, maybe we'll tone it down just a little bit. Maybe a little bit of darker green. And I'm gonna put, I see some down here, that darker green. I see bunches of it. I'm going to go over with the purple in there. But just very loose. And when I say reactive, when I think I said that in the introduction, that we're just reacting to what we see. You know, I saw some waves. I saw some blocks of color. And I'm getting those down. Just reacting to what I see. That's all it is. This is not a big painting course. This is just getting color and texture. And let's go back in and do some clouds. You know what? I'm going to go with a smaller brush. I see these. I loved those clouds on that day. Those beautiful, wispy, fluffy clouds. So I'm going to go back, maybe add a little bit of light blue. And I am just going to kind of paint those in. Okay, painting's dry. And, you know, it's good the way it is. I could probably just leave it as is. But like I said, I like line work. And now always keep in mind, less is more. So we don't want to overdo it. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe in my image there's a little fence back here. So maybe I'll do some little lines like this. And have them kind of connect. Okay, yeah, I think I'll leave that there. But maybe I'll do some little swirlies here, little circles, kind of give a little bit of the texture of the flowers up close. And some maybe lines. Again, in the new image, it may not even be lavender. It may, who knows what it'll get turned into. So again, we're not going to worry about that, but I just think that's kind of cool. Add a little bit of texture in there and some interesting line work. This pencil that I'm using is called a Stabilo Marks All, and it marks on glass, plastic, metal. It's, you know, I got it at the art store. You can get it online. It can, if you don't like it, what you put down, you can get it wet and you can wipe it right off. That's what's really cool about it. It might leave a little bit of darkness there, but it will come right off. And it's this dark, and it even blends, so it is water soluble. So that's why I go through these like crazy. I love them. They also come in different colors. Let's see, white. Yeah, maybe we'll do some white lines in here as well. And the bushes. I'll pretend these are bushes. Just look loose and fun. Nothing specific. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, less is more. All right, so we just finished having a lot of fun. I think, I hope, I did. Painting really loose. No expectations, no perfect plans, just loose and fun and reacting to the images that we saw with the colors and the brush strokes and the movement of the lines that we saw in our images that we chose. So just a lot of fun, simple, quick. I hope you did them quick and didn't spend a lot of time. Next step is our collage. Okay, we're gonna take these 3 images that we just painted and we're gonna rip them up. Again, don't have any preconceived plans or expectations. That's what's fun. We kind of don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what we're going to end up with. And it's fun to see at the end. It's like a surprise. That's what's so fun about it. So how I start with this is I look at my 3 paintings that I've done. My images themselves are gone. I just have the paintings that I did, and I look at those and I react to those. What do I see in there that interests me? And now again, think a little more abstract. You know, there's no right or wrong. The sky can be down low on the page and turn it into a river, or the suggestion of a river, or just put it down there because you like the blue down there. We'll talk a little bit about placing, you know, these elements, these pieces. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of look at the things in my painting that interest me, that I think would be easy to rip, you know, and we'll rip different directions to get different white. I like the white lines that come about when we're ripping too. That's all a part of the interest of the collage. So let's get started. I'll show you in more detail closer up on the paintings. All right, so here they are, all finished. And one thing I will mention that I don't think I mentioned before is trying to keep your colors in all 3 paintings from the same collection of colors that you chose. A few different ones here and there. For example, the pink is not in here. Purple's really not anywhere else. That's okay. We kind of got the same blue. We got a lot of the same greens going on. The yellow, so that makes it cohesive. They all relate to one another. If it was totally different, it might really create a distraction. So one thing to keep in mind. Now I'm reacting to my paintings right now. Where do I start? Where do I start ripping? And I just kind of see this line, this path that I made, this S curve. So I am just going to pick it up and I am going to start ripping along that line. Okay, and depending on if my right hand is pulling toward me and my left hand is pulling back, I'm going to get a clean edge on the right side. If I go the opposite direction, I'm going to get a clean edge on that side. So if I want a clean edge along this path, you see how I'm getting that clean edge. Now, if I switch my direction, I'm getting I really want the white to show along my path. So I'm going in the opposite direction and I'm getting that white edge to show along the path. That's really what I want. But see in the beginning here, how it didn't really do that. So it depends on the direction that you're ripping. So you might want to have a scrap piece of paper, to kind of test which way you need to push and pull when you rip to get the look you want. So now I'm just going to kind of pull it off. Okay, and that's an interesting shape right there. Okay, but I'm still going to go back to my path and I want the white to show. So I'm going in this direction and the white's showing along the path because I just think that's going to be cool in my collage, showing that white line that's going to really emphasize that shape. And I'm ripping along and now I'm just going to let's pull this and see where it goes. Okay. So this is how I'm starting, and I might break these down into smaller pieces, but I'm just kind of reacting. I'm just starting like that and reacting to what I have there. So that's kind of how I start with this one. And then I do have a separate notebook that I use to put my collages in. I think the paper is a little bit bigger than our original ones that we started out with, but you can use the same paper to do it, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Then you need to decide, am I going to do this as a landscape where it's wider and shorter up and down, or am I going to do this vertically up and down? And I think since I started with this kind of path there, I think I'm going to go the long way up and down. But look at how now we no longer have a landscape. We've ripped it up and we no longer see a landscape. But this is a really cool start. Next, I'm going to go to my next painting, and I really like the lilacs in here. But maybe I'm not going to go with the whole thing. Maybe I'm going to rip, this bottom section down. And I don't want them all to have white lines because that might be too many white lines in my painting. But, I'm kind of moving my rips up and down. And there's my shape, okay? And, we're just going to start playing and see what we like and what looks good. Are we going to want some sky along the top? Are we going to want to stick some sky in there? I'm going to put this one aside, okay? Now I'm looking at my next one, okay? I wonder what it would look like if I just had these flowers in the center. Or maybe even if I ripped some kind of a circle. That would be pretty cool. So I think I'm going to do something like that. I'm just going to start in. I'm going to try to get a circle. It's not going to be a perfect circle. And, it might even be fun Well, I already started with my rip. That's going to be a clean edge on my circle. All right. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Okay. So that looks cool so far, but there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot of stuff happening. This is a little bit smoother and softer, but there's a lot of stuff happening here. There's a lot of stuff happening there. So I think we need some quiet. We need things to quiet down a little bit. So that's why we left some areas of our painting that are a little more quiet. So like the sky, the hilltop, the side here. So I'm just going to kind of rip along this edge and see what we get. Maybe if I stick this in here. Okay. That's kind of cool. This kind of ties in here. Now, who knows? No, this is going to become a puzzle piece. And then I got this blue here. I'm kind of thinking the blue in here to balance that out would be kind of cool. So I've got two paintings that have that. I'm wondering if maybe this one here, I'm going to keep some of that green in there. Maybe so you're thinking that's kind of funny, but you know what? Again, this is more abstract, so we don't want it. So what if the sky is sideways on the side, and the flowers are up in the sky? And it becomes just like a puzzle, moving things around to see where they look best. No, I like that one better like that. Too much. I like it better without. Now let's go back to our, the trees. Okay. I think I like this. There's a lot happening. And that's why I think these white lines is nice to break it up. I'm repeating the color a lot, a little, and even less. Threes. Green is our dominant color. Blue is breaking it up. It's soft. There's not as much going on. That's important because there is so much going on. So it's important to have some areas of rest for our eyes. So you will find when you start gluing it down, it may change. And a lot of times what I will do is I will snap a picture of my little layout here so that I have it to refer to, because, you know, we start gluing down, and once it's down, we can't be moving it around. So you've got to think in layers. What's going to get glued down first? Looks like these guys are going to get glued down first. You know, and kind of set them, get them glued down and get them in place, but don't press them all down quite yet because, you know, you may be stuck. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to take a picture of my piece where it is, and then I'm going to get ready for gluing things down. All right, I took a picture of my layout here. But again, as I said before, don't become attached to it because things may change when you start gluing down. We move things. So we got to look at it. What is the lowest layer that has, you know, it looks like this blue sky is kind of the lowest area. So I am going to start, I'm going to kind of take a couple pieces that are lying on top and set them aside. And I'm going to kind of start with these pieces here. Looks like those are easiest to get a hold of. Now you don't have to have a clean edge on all of them, on these either. So don't worry about that. You know, that's collage. I'm going to put some Mod Podge on my paint palette here, or my paper plate, because this I can toss. I didn't want to wash glue down my drain. And I have another little technique to show you for putting glue on pieces. And this is what the old magazine is good for. I can get all the edges, go straight to the edges and not worry about getting it on my work surface. And if it gets on top, that doesn't matter. All right, and I'm gonna just set it down here kind of loosely. I'm not gonna glue it all the way down because I know I got this little piece I want to go underneath and this little piece I want to go underneath. So I'm gonna put glue on that one. And where was that one again? That was under here. Again, loosely. I don't want quite yet. And then you can flip the page if that's too wet and use the next page on your magazine that you don't care if it gets destroyed. Keep that in mind because it will. And I'm looking at my image and it looks like this kind of goes up underneath there. All right. like that. I like that better. Love the lines in there. And then I kind of feel like I want, yeah, look at that. That just breaks up the busyness, I think. All right. That's where it's going. Yeah, look at the difference when I add that versus taking it away. It's so busy down here. This is lighten it. It just kind of breaks it up and softens it. Might even be neat to take that same color and do something with it up here. I'm just gonna try. I'm ripping it because I want a clean edge. I'm just seeing what that looks like. Kind of breaks up that busyness and repeats. Maybe even put it that way. That adds an interesting line. I think I'm gonna do that. I'll rip this off. I want a straight, there we go. All right. All right, so just to kind of go through a little bit what we've done. With collages, they can get really busy really fast, as you see. That's why when we painted our paintings, we had some areas of a lot of pattern and texture and detail. And then we kept some other areas, you know, very soft and smooth and, you know, plain, if you will. And we needed that. Also, we've got this balance of color. Without it, it looked a little lost. Same thing with the purple. We balanced the color. This is kind of our central focus. This and this little wave is where I started out with as my central focus, my center of attention. You know, repeat of colors and the line work that's going on. The blue helps to bring some contrast, some lightness. So, and big pieces, and then you can, you know, touch up with a few smaller pieces if you find that you need it. But see how my composition or my collage has since changed since my original when I laid it out, and that happens. Sometimes it changes a lot, sometimes not so much. Sometimes you put wrong one down by a mistake, and well, you got to work with it. So be careful. I forgot to tell you, you got to be careful of this black that does smudge. Sometimes it's what's called a happy accident, and you can work with it and enjoy it, or maybe even get rid of it. And then sometimes what I'll do, if I see areas that are still sticking up a little bit, I might go back and get some more glue in there gently. Doesn't matter if this glue gets on top because it will dry to a matte finish. If you got matte, make sure when you do buy this glue, there's, you know, a gloss finish and a matte finish. Get the matte finish, or else you're gonna see glossy. You're gonna see glossy on top of matte, which I don't think you'll like very much. So make sure of that. So there, I think that's my final piece. I think I'm gonna stop there. I don't wanna overdo it. But again, you know, I like, this is interesting line. The way you rip it, leave some of those ripped edges, but then maybe leave some clean edges. So there, again, isn't too many lines and too many edges in there. You know, we didn't do it there, which I think is good. So there's our final piece. And I think that turned out really good. I had fun. I hope you did too.